Thursday Night Football.
Nah.
Yeah. All right. We've got Atlanta at Tampa Bay. An updated stat of the game. 10 wide receivers have 83 yards or a touchdown against the Falcons in their last 7 games. So that's pretty cool. But, of course, Bucs wide receivers are not doing that at all. All right. Keith, I'm gonna start with the Atlanta Falcons for you.
Okay, good.
Easy peasy.
I think you should start Bijan Robinson, and I think you should start Kyle Pitts, and I think you should ignore everybody else.
And Kyle Pitts is top 5 for everyone. So Pitts or Kelsey?
Pitts.
Yes.
Who would you start over Pitts? So McBride, Bowers. Who?
Harold Fannin.
Ooh.
Kittle, McBride, Bowers. The
Kittle,
studs.
Kittle, McBride, Bowers. Yeah. And Fannin?
Yeah, I agree with you, Fannin.
Jamie?
Pitts over Fannin for me.
Okay. But it's basically Kittle, McBride, Bowers, and then Pitts comes into the...
That only changes if Drake London plays.
Yeah. It changes in a big way, I assume.
In terms of Fannin, yes. In terms of still starting Pitts, I would still start Pitts.
He's been awesome, I believe, against the Buccaneers.
He has been awesome against the Buccaneers. He's been solid with Kirk Cousins in the 4 games. 3 of the 4 have been very good. So he was great against the Bucs in week 1, or 12 PPR points against the Bucs week 1. We don't call it great, but that was with London playing. So I still would start him, but he's top 4 for me with Drake London not there.
Okay. He has 1 touchdown this year, Kyle Pitts. He has 1 end zone target. So that's kind of an issue. But right now, 18 targets in his last 2 games. Very good target share. And he's the guy. Tampa Bay's 14th against tight ends. All right. On the other side of the ball, Jamie, which Bucs are you confident in starting?
Oh, boy. Chase McLaughlin. I think for Bucky Irving, I'll go right back to him. I know he got a little bit banged up in that game with the ankle that took him off the field, and then Sean Tucker kind of got rolling a little bit, and then Bucky had the big run late. But for me, I'm going to trust that this is a game where they can lean on him. The Falcons' run defense has been absolutely abysmal lately. So Bucky Irving's a must start. It's really the receivers and Baker. So Baker's track record against Atlanta is enough to buy into. The fact that this may be his first game with his entire receiving core, I think the entire season.
All year. Yep. All year.
Yeah, right.
So especially if McMillan plays. So hopefully that helps. Wirf's back helps. Falcons defense against quarterbacks and passing games helps. So there's just a lot of things working in his favor, but Baker just has not been right. So for me, I'm gonna, he's 12th. He's right behind Mahomes. That's kind of where I start to get a little bit a lot of questions at quarterback. So if I've been starting Baker and getting by with it, I'm moderately encouraged for this week. If you have the ability to still pick up Jackson Dart or Brock Purdy, as we talked about on Tuesday, easy change for me. I would pivot to those guys. But I'm not starting Mariota or CJ Stroud, for example, over Baker Mayfield.
Dave, Heath, do you have any difference of opinion there?
Not really. I also have Baker 12th. As of right now, I think I do have Mariota 1 spot ahead of Baker, but he is the most borderline top 12 quarterback there could be.
And the receivers obviously are tough to trust right now because Abuka's been getting targets but doing nothing with them, and we saw the drop last week. Evans in his first game back, we already know there's been 2 examples, one good, one bad, of what they thought they were going to do with a guy coming back from an extended absence. Chris Godwin barely played, did nothing. Bucky Irving was supposed to not play very much and was still awesome in the 50% of the snaps that he played. So how much does Mike Evans, coming back from a pain tolerance situation and a lack of playing time versus, a knee injury or a foot injury, et cetera. So if his conditioning is good, he's going to play a lot of snaps. That's the one area where you have to have a little bit of question and concern. I just think you treat them all as number 3 receivers. To me, it would be still Abuka the highest, then Evans, then Godwin, just with the hope of Evans catching a touchdown and being somewhat successful.
I am too high on Mike Evans right now, and I'll lower him a little bit, but I do kind of think with the way Abuka has played lately, and particularly the drop issues that almost everyone's had, and the fact that Mike Evans had a 30% target share earlier this year when he was playing with Baker Mayfield, and that's his guy. And he's not, like as Jamie said, he's not coming back from a soft tissue injury. He's not coming back from a high ankle sprain. He's coming back from a broken collarbone, which sucks. I'm sure it hurt really bad, but he should be fine. So I'm a little more optimistic that Evans really has a high target share. And if you've had a high target share against the Falcons, you've been great lately.
Dave, I want to get your thoughts on these receivers, but one other factor here is that they did play in week 1, and AJ Terrell mostly shadowed Mike Evans. And I went back and I watched, if not, I think like 3/4 of that game. And he got open against Terrell. He just didn't really get targeted against Terrell. Mm-hmm. So there is that factor as well. That could happen, and that freed up Ibuka to have a good game in week 1. But how do you see the wide receivers playing out? I think Jamie said he'd go Ibuka, Evans, Godwin. Heath, how would you rank them? Oh. Heath froze, or is it me?
Heath froze.
Okay. Dave, how would you rank them, and how do you see it playing out?
I see Ibuka as the best, but he's a low-end number 2 receiver. Evans, a high-end number 3 receiver. Godwin, somebody I really don't want to trust, maybe a low-end flex at best. I think Evans is the steadying force here because he touched on this. It really, I was happy that he did. The target share for Evans, huge when he was playing earlier in the year. The target per route run rate, that's a little bit different than target share, but Evans was the highest there against zone coverage. What did the Falcons do the most? Zone coverage. And I think that that's going to be an easy, reliable, trustworthy receiver that Baker should be on the same page with pretty quickly. Hopefully they've been practicing for more than a week. So hopefully they've got their timing down. I don't expect Evans to dominate on downfield throws, but I also don't think he's going to get a bunch of like 3 and 4 yard routes either. I think he's going to hit that intermediate area, and that's where you can win against Atlanta. If the Falcons adjust too much to that, that's going to open up Ibuka. I feel like there's been miscommunications between Ibuka and Baker, and that's part of the reason why Ibuka hasn't been playing well, or at least why he didn't play well last week. I'll call it that. But to me, the whole key to anything on Tampa right now is Tristan Wirfs. If he plays, that offensive line should be good enough to give Baker Mayfield all the time he needs to throw accurately downfield. If Wirfs doesn't play, then I get a little bit nervous about all these guys. So not the highest of expectations, but I think Evans is definitely going to be the reason why, A, Baker has a decent game, and B, why a lot of people in the passing game for Tampa can be effective.
Well, you're not going to start Cade Otton. That's an easy call. We pretty much are going to start Bucky Irving. I expect Bucky's start percentage to be, and start percentage is a little tricky right now because there are so many teams that are eliminated, but in a normal week, I would think it'd be about 90%. Just given the state of the running back position. But
we need to see if he's even on the injury report. If he's not on the injury report, then I think anything that we're talking about from last week's game, where we weren't sure how healthy he was, didn't play much of the second quarter, kind of 50%.
He got banged up in
the second half. Right, he got banged up. If he's not on the injury report, though, I would expect him to be the lead back for Tampa. And in this matchup against Atlanta, I believe you touched on it, Jamie, just like they're giving up gobs of numbers to running backs.
And wide receivers. I mean, like I said, 10 receivers with 83 yards or a touchdown against the Falcons in their last 7 games. Cooper Kupp just caught a touchdown. Adonai Mitchell had 102 yards and a touchdown. Tedero McMillan scored like 40 points or something like that, right? Xavier Legette had 83 yards and a touchdown on 8 targets. So this is one of the best matchups for receivers. That's why this is so tough. So let me see what we've got in the chat.
I have a brutal decision to make Thursday. So it's our office league playoffs where we start 1 wide receiver, 1 running back, and 2 flexes. And I have Baker. Keep that in mind. So I have to make a call with Evans, Wilson, because we don't know if Marvin Harrison will be back, Devin Neal, and Trevion Henderson. So I have to pick 3 guys from those 4 players.
I'm a little hesitant with Evans, honestly. I do think the AJ Terrell factor is real.
I don't disagree with you, but if Harrison plays,
yeah,
I want
Wilson,
no part of Michael Wilson
against
the Texans. Then. I mean, who would?
So then I think you have to play Evans because then you could just sit Neal.
No, or sit Trevion.
No, because I have to play 1 wide receiver. So I have to play Evans. And
you play Evans at receiver.
I would play Wilson over Neal if Harrison is in.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So not knowing the Michael Wilson, Marvin Harrison situation, you start Evans, and then if And then yeah.
That's the way I'm leaning right now. It basically comes down to Wilson versus Neal, because I do think I like Henderson better than Neal.
We've previewed this entire game assuming Mike Evans is going to play. If he doesn't play, then Ibuka is what?
Still a number 2 receiver.
Still a high-end number 3 receiver.
And Godwin is
a number 3 receiver. I have all of them as number 3 receivers. It's basically like Ibuka's in the mid-20s. Evans is in the low 30s, and Evans is like around 36, 37.
I mean,
Godwin's around 36, 37.
Yeah, I think he had 8 targets last week. He had 5 targets the week before, and he dropped a touchdown. And he ran more routes last week. 86.1% of the.
This is going to start to get like how we said the Chargers were early in the season. This stretch run for them. Last year we got lucky because when McMillan got hot, it was Godwin was off the field, and so I'm worried the most about Ibuka because of what's been happening to him, and Bucs, sort of going into a shell a little bit. Do they just try to go back to what's familiar for Baker? And Godwin in the slot could be awesome. That's where he's had his most success. And so you have Ibuka and Evans on the outside, and now Godwin becomes just a target hog and closes the season on a tear. It's hard to count on that because we haven't seen it. But again, now you have the trustworthy guys there plus their high-profile rookie who got off to such a hot start and now has just been struggling. Because the target's still been there for Ibuka. It's clearly Baker's been trying to get him going. The offense has been trying to get him going.
It's not just the target. It's these opportunities for huge plays have also been there for Ibuka. And it almost feels fluky. It feels like a fluka that they haven't happened, whether it's been an overthrow or a drop or whatever. There have been fantasy points that have just been left on the field. But
what a bad joke that you just made.
What did you just say? Did you say it?
You have to go back and listen.
No. Okay.
I believe the word he used was freaking, Adam.
Okay. Good. All right, let me read some chat questions here. Pick 3. Irving, Henderson, Harvey, ETN, Dowdle. Full PPR.
Irving.
It would be ETN, Irving, and Harvey.
Yeah, that's my 3. And probably in that order as well.
Ibuka, McConkey, Fannin. Oh, geez, there's a lot here. Jalen Warren, Rico Dowdle, Devin Neal. Pick 3. Ibuka, McConkey, Fannin, Jalen Warren, Dowdle, Neal. Yikes.
Man.
Does Ibuka make the cut?
He does for me.
I'm torn between Ibuka and McConkey. I'll go Fannin.
Dowdle and Ibuka?
No, Dowdle's probably Neal's my least favorite. I go Fannin and the receivers.
Cortland Sutton or Chris Godwin?
Sutton.
Sutton or Ibuka?
Sutton
or Ibuka if Evans is out?
Sutton.
Ibuka, Flowers, or Tracy? PPR.
Flowers.
I have Ibuka one spot ahead of Flowers.
Ibuka or McConkey? I think we
did Ibuka.
I'll go McConkey.
Evans or Tetero McMillan?
Tet.
Agreed.
Evans, Myers, Wilson, sit 1. Ooh.
Evans Wilson if MHJ plays. Right.
Yeah, but we won't know. Oh, we might know. We might know by Thursday.
I mean, look, if Harrison misses practice Wednesday and Thursday, then you should feel somewhat confident that he's not going to play. Like misses practice.
Okay.
You get limited, then you got to be worried.
That was a thorough preview of Atlanta and Tampa Bay.
It was long. I forgot the theme song.
Yeah, well, before you get back to the theme song, Heath had a power outage, so he's coming back now. But oh damn, what was I going to say?
I didn't miss it today.
Remember. Hey Heath, we did that basically the entire preview and answered those questions, assuming that Evans is going to play. If Evans does not play, it changes things. Check the rankings, and that was Thursday Night Football.
Na.